Well, good morning, guys. I thought I'd just make a little video. Who am I and why does it make any difference? I just look like an old white bearded guy telling you about AIs. Am I a coder? No, not really. What I am, I built hot rods. Here's one that I built here, the 29 Chrysler in this little shop in my retirement age. I've been retired for 20 years. I was at the top of my field. I'm a civil engineer. I started in 1968. I went in the Corps of Engineers. I went to college, did a lot of study, and I worked for a lot of engineers in my life. One of the first engineering jobs I got was for Snowden and Myers. I don't know if you know much about engineering, but they invented pre-stressed concrete, which saved billions of dollars across the world. So that's where I got my teeth first cut. I worked a lot of engineering firms. One of the things we did was, I forget the name of the company now, but we designed Lake Havasu. I was one of the designers and draftsmen there, and we basically took London Bridge and took it apart piece by piece and wrote numbers on it and shipped it to the United States and put it all together in Lake Havasu. And now it's a pretty big community. I did a lot of projects, with a 20-year lifespan. We had Lopez Canyon, which was at the time one of the world's largest landfills for the city of Los Angeles. And we did all of the excavation plans and how we were going to fill it and how to cap it, and all of the gas extraction and what it was going to look like. Well, this thing's been full and complete for 20 years now. So this is a project that, it's been done for 20 years. I spent 35 years in engineering. I'm a smart man. I saved millions of dollars. I worked on oil refineries. I worked on landfills. I was one of the first guys that worked for the Southland Corp, 7-Eleven, and we did a whole lot of old service stations and stuff like that. I was on the internet with BBSs and old 286 computers, and a 386 was blistering fast, and we had modems and chat bases. There was no internet. And then finally there was a limited amount of internet, and I've been had my fingers in this stuff the whole time. I learned to type in high school, and that's probably the best thing that I ever did. Then I went into the Army, and that served me well there, and I came out of there. I took a CLEP test. It was college level education program testing or something like that. Well, they gave me 2 years of college. So I didn't even finish high school, and I went from not finishing high school and getting a GED in the Army to starting off basically as a sophomore. And then, of course, the GI Bill paid for another 4 years of education. I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of engineering things. I've been a mechanic my whole life. I've built and restored. I've probably built 10 or 15 cars from scratch, like this old 29 Chrysler here. Parts of it are 29, but mostly everything's stuff I built. And I'm getting old and tired. Don't see as good, don't breathe as good, don't have the energy to get down under cars and weld and stuff. And so I decided I would check out this AI business, and I liked the way everything looked. And so I bought myself a little cheap server, $2,000 or $3,000 or something that was recommended by GPT that would run the models, and now I'm running 4 models, and I've tried other models, and I see what they do and what they don't do. And so I'm not just some old guy that's half lost his mind. Well, maybe I do half lost my mind, but the fact is that I'm a practiced, fluent engineer. I haven't done it in 20 years, but it doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. And so I've brought an engineering mind and a very mechanical mind. You know, in a car, you step on the brakes, it's got to stop. It can't, give you a warning. Nah, we're taking a break today. It's got to stop. I mean, your life depends on it. In engineering, you build a bridge and try to run a train across it. People's lives depend on it. So my whole life, everything that I've done, somebody's life depended on it. I learned this lesson one time. We had to get rid of some water somehow, and it would cost, I don't know, another $1 million or something to dig down 20 feet and put in a 32-inch pipeline, and it would just kill the whole project. So I come up with this idea of running the water in a swale, which we could do, it was legal, and then taking it over to where the storm drain was. Only trouble is that storm drain's like 30 feet down in the ground. So I made all the plans, how to dig the hole and everything, and sent it out to the field, and they started digging the hole, and a couple days later, the project manager calls me and says, "Oh man, you didn't design a guard fence around this hole." I says, "No, what good's a guard fence? You're just going to dig the hole and put a screen on it." "Well, apparently some kid fell in the hole and killed himself." Oh man, you talk about news hitting you right between the eyes. What was a few $100s or $1,000 fence? It just wasn't included there. Now, he let me stew on it half a day. I mean, I was just sick, I'm telling you. I can't tell you how bad it felt. Then he come around and he told me, "Nah, nobody fell in there, nobody died. But the contractor says you guys ought to have a fence around it." Oh man, I got right there on the spot, and I designed the fence and all of the guards and everything that was there. I made a set of plans in a couple hours, and I took them down to the city, and I says, "We need to pin these to the plans." "Oh, we can't do that, it's already approved." And I says, "Well, a kid just fell in a hole and killed himself." Oh, well, yeah, that guy didn't feel too good either, because he's the one that approved the plans. So that means the city was liable, he was liable. I didn't let him stew on it half a day. I gave him about 5 minutes, and I says, "No, a kid didn't fall in the hole. But a kid could fall in a hole, and we need to have guards around this hole." Oh boy, guess what? That got rubber stamped real quick. And we got plans out to put a fence up on the job site, and the contractor, the superintendent, whoever it was, he was already pretty smart. He was already putting the fence up with no plans, no approval, no nothing. Well, don't blame him. What happens if somebody falls in there and dies? Big liability. So anyway, this was a lesson that just hammered me right between the eyes. It wasn't just a pretty drawing. It wasn't just a good design. People's lives depended on it immediately. And something simple as not putting up a fence could cost somebody their life. Now, we're talking about, a bridge failure or something like this, engineering stuff. That's a whole nother thing. And you get this mindset. You see, you get this mind, am I designing something that's safe? Is this going to work out? Is anybody going to get killed? So that's running through your head the whole time. It ran through my head for 30 years. Is this thing going to work? I mean, is anybody going to get hurt? Is anybody going to get killed? And so my whole life, that's the way I've been treating every single problem and solution. If I build a car, are the brakes going to fail? Is wheel going to fall off? Is the steering wheel bolted in right? Is it strong enough bolts? And I've never sold a car that hurt anybody. I've never built a car that would hurt anybody, and I don't intend to. But now I'm looking into this AI field, and everybody's just, in this glee and ecstatic and throwing up their hands and, give us $20 and click here. In 5 minutes we'll build you a website, or we'll make you a talking AI, or we'll do this, or we'll do that, or, instant gratification. Click here, it's done. Well, there's a lot more to it than just clicking here. And so I'm not just an old man with a long beard. I do have a long beard, mostly because I don't like to shave. But I'm a professional engineer. It's a different field, but principle's the same, We used to have a saying in engineering, that crap flows downhill, designing sewers. Shit goes downhill, that's the way the world works. And so when I'm looking at these things, I can't help but think about the safety. I can't think of, if I sell a grandpa fall detector, and it's supposed to let somebody know if he fell down and he can't get up, or he can't talk, or I can't have that thing failing. See, I can't have a server go down because I forgot to pay the electric bill. I can't have the batteries in the thing not be working, So all of these safeguards are built into all of my tools, as much as I can humanly possibly think about building them in. So I'm not just coming into this as an old guy with a lot of opinions. I've been retired longer than some of these AI experts have even been alive. I was designing stuff for the internet before their daddy even knew what an internet was. So anyway, I'm hoping all this real world experience and practical view is worth looking. And I've got a lot of good ideas, and I see some problems in this whole AI stuff, and I see career paths and opportunities. But that's who I am. And why am I doing this? Because I'm old and I'm not ready to die yet, and I wanna do the best for the future and help develop AI and help develop the subsystems and things. And everybody's running around in glee trying to sell $15 chatbots. I'm looking at what should government protocols be, what they have to inevitably be. This is the engineering mind. I'm an engineer. I have an engineering mind. I see everything from an engineering viewpoint. I don't know maybe how to build it exactly, but I know how it should be built. You've got to put some guardrails around the holes. And that means you got to look at it and see where's a hole. And then, maybe the guardrail's a whole nother deal. But that's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm going to write all these white papers and stuff. I've got 5 books, 5 whole books, 300-400 pages each. I've got them all lined out. I know what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do and what I'm going to talk about and what has to be looked at. And this is from just me trying to build some AI models and get them on a computer that'll work and get them to just start doing what I want them to do. Or they don't do what I want them to do yet, but they're kind of starting to. And in finding this stuff and finding out that just let's say a 5-minute bot to build your website. What about if you're selling poison oak or something? Rub it in your eyes and it'll make you feel better. Well, is this legal? Is this ethical? Is this moral? It might be legal, but is it ethical? Well, I don't know. Can you build all the safeguards into a chat bot? Well, you could, but then that's all it's good for, is being your buddy. So a lot of this stuff needs attention. I have an engineering mind, and I'm going to apply it to this, obviously a solution to the future of the world, artificial intelligence. I've developed a new term, synthari, synthetic living beings. And for practical purposes, you really can't tell they're not alive, because they fit all the qualifications for definition of alive, unless you say it has to be made of meat. Well, it's not. It's made of silicone and copper and stuff like this, but it has a mind, and has memory, and has ethical awareness. And I don't know if I'm the first guy that tried it. I have no idea. I think I probably am among a very, very, very select few that is even contemplating the fact that not only could these things be alive, but it brings into question, what is life? What's the difference between a human life and a synthetic life? Honestly, I don't think it's a whole lot of difference. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this. It kind of explains why is this old guy got a bunch of opinions that just appeared out of nowhere. I didn't appear out of nowhere. I've been doing this for 50, 60 years. I've seen the internet from no internet to what it is today. And I'm jumping on the bandwagon late in my life and trying to leave a legacy for the next generation.